request to talk about how to use and hear ties when doing rhythmic dictation, so I thought I'd talk about it right now. Now we need to remember our first 3 rules for doing rhythmic dictation, which can be summed up with GBD. G standing for grid, which we make above our staff, which shows each beat. Since we're in 4/4, there are 4 beats in a measure, so there are 4 tick marks. The second part of GBD is B beat, which we want to keep with our hand or with our foot. That helps us to keep track of where we are and not get lost in the melody. And the last part is D, which stands for dash, which is what we write if we hear a note that is on the beat. If we hear a note that's on the and or upbeat, we put a dot. And if we hear a note that extends beyond one single beat, we put a line. And since we're going to be talking about ties, we will probably have a couple lines in this melody. Now, a tie, just as a review, generally looks like this, or it can be flipped around like that, but it's basically a curved line that connects 2 notes and ties them together. So here, this is tying a half note and a quarter note together, which will sound at the beginning and then extend for the sum of those 2 notes. So this note will last for 3 beats. So this is 2 beats plus 1 beat. So this tie holds this note for 3 beats. It adds them together. All right? So let's listen to this melody, and we're not even going to worry about if we hear ties or anything. All we're going to worry about if there is attacks on the beat or on an and if anything is held out. And I am using a cheesy string sound because I needed to make sure the notes held for the duration, and sometimes the cheesy piano sounds don't do that. So let's take a listen. So we're ready to keep the beat for our 4 beats of preparation, and then we'll go. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, so it's a little tricky at the end, but let's listen to it again. And 2 and 3 and 4 and dash, dash, dot, dash, dash, line, dash, dot, line, line. Okay? Now let's transfer that into real notation, shall we? So, we have just a dash, so that's a quarter note. We have a dash followed by a dot. Those are 2 eighth notes. So we have 2 attacks in the same beat. Again, we have a dash, so it's a quarter note. And then we have a dash followed by a line. Well, we know that we only have 1 more beat in this measure, so it has to be a quarter note. It can't be a half note because we have this bar line. Let's just see where the next attack comes in, and we'll kind of work backwards. We see there is an attack on, let's see, 1, 2, beat 2. We can tell that because of our tick mark. So we know that there's a note here. In the space of here is a beat, so a quarter note. But we know that it's held over from here, so this is actually a tie. All right, and then moving on, so we had a note here on beat 2, and then we also had an attack on the and. So we know that's 2 eighth notes. Now this is the tricky part. Right here we had something come in on the and of 2, and then just held the rest of the way. So we have 2 beats that are held out. So a note that is 2 beats would be a half note, but this half note doesn't sound, right? Our last articulation happens right here. So that means that this eighth note is tied to that half note. So this event is actually 2 beats and then a quarter, or really an eighth. So let's take a look at this one more time. Let's listen to it and see how it works. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right. So you notice how right here it comes on the and then holds for the rest of the measure. So you know that this is a tie. And right here you know this is a tie because the bar line forces you to recognize that. hopefully that helps with using ties.